Hello everyone, this is Shram from Learnacon, and in this video I will guide you through creating your first project in TIA Portal. In the previous video, we covered how to download and install TIA Portal. Now, let's dive into building your first project step by step. In this example, we will create a PLC logic for a typical motor starter circuit. I have the diagram for the well-known direct online motor starter here. First, I will give you a quick explanation of how it works, and then we will jump into building the project in TIA Portal. To keep things simple, we will focus only on the section highlighted in the orange box, the start, stop, and contactor component. In the standstill state, the motor is off. Current flows up to the stop button, which is normally closed, then stops at the start button, which is normally open. No power, which is the contactor coil, and the system remains idle. Pressing the start closes the circuit. Current flows through stop, then start, and then coil. The coil is energized and converts to a magnet. The energized coil pulls the main contact, powering the motor. Simultaneously, the holding contact closes, forming a parallel path to the start. When start push button is released, the coil stays energized via the latch and keeps the motor running continuously. Pressing the stop opens the circuit and cuts the power to the coil and the latch. The coil is de-energized, contacts open, and the motor stops. The system returns to standstill, ready for the next start. Now that you understand the application, let's switch to TIA Portal and start creating the project. When you open TIA Portal, you get this screen, which offers you the option to open an existing project or creating a new project. Today, we're going to create a new project. So click on the new project. And then I'm going to give it a name. So let's call it Motor Starter. And I have an option to pick a customized folder. Otherwise, by default, it would be saved in my document under the subfolder called Automation. And then I click on Create. It generates file and folder for the project. And then switches to the next screen, which gives us the option to create a device, write a PLC program, configure a motion control system, set up a drive, or develop an HMI. In our case, we are going to create a PLC. So I'm going to configure a device. And then click on the Add New Device. And here I get a list of multiple devices: PLC, HMI, PC, and drive. In our application, we plan to create a PLC Station. So I pick the first one. And here I have the list of multiple family PLC series. I plan to go with S7-1200 G2, which is the generation 2 of the 1200 famous PLC. I'm going to open this branch, and then from the CPU, I'm going to click on the CPU 1212 Compact, and then click on the CPU icon. So when I highlight it, I can see the part number, firmware version, and a short description here. So CPU is highlighted, and click on the Add, and the PLC would be added into my project. The S7-1200 Generation 2 offers a lot of cybersecurity options. So you can set up different types of access, authentication, authorization, and many more. For now, I'm going to disable all these features to keep it simple. So I'm going to uncheck this box, so I don't need to insert a password. And also on the PLC access protection, I'm going to choose the option Disable Access Control. And then click the warning and finish. As you may notice, it has automatically switched to Portal View. You can see the label for the view name on the bottom left corner. So here's my PLC station and all the elements required for that, like PLC program blocks, PLC tags, watch and trace table, and many more. So don't be scared, we don't need all these details for now. We only focus on the program blocks folder. So I'm going to click on this tiny icon here. And I can see that there is a main block here, which is empty. I'm going to click on that to open up. and here's the environment to implement the logic in the ladder language. So you have the option to choose between 5 different languages based on the IEC 61131-3 standard. Default is ladder, and for this application, I'm going to proceed with ladder. So I have a toolbar here and with some basic elements. If I need more elements, I can click on the instruction panel on the right, and it opens up a group of different program elements. So the logic elements can be found in the bit logic. So I can see here all the set, reset, open contact, normally close, coil, and many more. But for this video, we are good with all we have on the toolbar. So I'm going to hide this part for now. As we saw on the diagram for the direct online motor starter, we need normally close stop, normally open start, and a relay coil and a holding contact. So normally close, normally open, coil. So this would be my stop. I'm going to add the name here, start, and this is my relay. And for the holding contact, I need a branch parallel to the start. So I'm going to click here in the middle, click on the branch, add a new contact, and then drag and drop this there. And this contact is coming from my relay. So when the relay is energized, this contact would be on. Okay, so this is all the logic I need for this application. But as you may notice, these tags are not associated with any input-output. And that's why they are marked up with some red underline. And I'll see the red cross here. So if I hover the mouse around these tags, it says the tag is not defined. So we can define the tags in multiple ways. The conventional way is that I open the PLC tag folder and define all the tags and associated them with some inputs and outputs. The other way, which I prefer more for this application, is to graphically drag and drop these tags to onboard I/O on the CPU. For that, I'm going to split the screen to see my hardware. That's my CPU. And if I zoom in to like 500%, I would be able to see the inputs, the onboard inputs and outputs on this PLC. So I have 0 to 7. So I have 8 digital input channel. And this CPU also supports 6 digital output channel. In TIA Portal, everything works based on drag and drop. So I'm going to click on the start and drag and drop it on the first input. Stop, second input. And relay is the first output channel. Okay, now if I hover the mouse around these channels, I can see this is the start associated with input 0.0. Stop associated with input 0.1, and relay is associated with output 0.0. Okay, all good. I can see all the error is gone. Now my program is ready for testing. So now we are done with the logic. Next step is to load this program into PLC and test the functionality. Okay, I'm going to save this application. And in TIA Portal, before loading a program into PLC, you need to compile it. So click the PLC Station and clicking on the compile button on the toolbar. Compiling checks the code, configuration, settings, and everything else, and generates an executable code for the CPU to run. So here in the info screen, I get a report that compile finished successfully, no error, no warning. Okay, perfect, all is good. Now I can load the PLC program into my CPU, but here is the catch. I don't have any physical hardware here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the PLC simulator, which in TIA Portal world is called PLCSIM. PLCSIM is an additional software that can be installed on top of TIA Portal. If you have watched my previous video how to download and install TIA Portal, you would be able to download PLCSIM from the same website you download the TIA Portal. I've already done that and it's installed on my machine. So when the PLCSIM is installed, you would be able to see an activated button on the toolbar. When you hover the mouse, you can see Start Simulation. So I'm going to click on my station and then press Start Simulation. It gives me the warning that starting simulation will disable all other online interfaces, because there might be the case that you are using a real physical PLC hardware. Now, if you switch to PLC simulator, connection to that actual physical hardware would be lost. So I'm going to click OK here. So I can see that PLCSIM application has been started and an instance, or let's say a virtual CPU, has been generated here. It has a run and stop and currently is in stop mode. It's turned on. This is the IP address. And next is that I need to download my code into this virtual CPU. So I'm going to switch back to TIA Portal. And on the download screen, PLCSIM has been automatically selected, and I'm going to click on the load. And I just skip the warning, click connect, and click on the load. And on the last step, in the selection box, I pick Start Module. This is just a safety check that ensures that the CPU doesn't automatically switch from stop to run. It happens by the command from the programmer to make sure no unplanned action may happen. Okay, Start Module and finish. I can see that my PLC is in run mode, and if I switch back to TIA Portal, and now I need to go online with this code and see how it works. So for that, I'm going to deactivate the split screen mode, and on the toolbar here, I'm going to click on this icon which looks like an eyeglass, and it turns on the monitoring. So there we go, we are online with our PLCSIM or virtual PLC. So currently our motor is in the stop mode. As soon as I click on the start, the relay should be energized. But how can I do that? I need to activate a physical input. With PLCSIM, we are able to simulate PLC I/O. Okay, so switch back to PLCSIM. So in the PLCSIM, if I click on this button called Sim View, I can create a simulation table. So add a table. And now I can call up my tags here. So if I type in start, I can see all the PLC tags will be listed here. Stop. So this is my simulation table, and using this table, I would be able to trigger these inputs. I just need to activate this table by clicking on this play button, and I'm going to move it down a little bit so we would be able to see both the table and our logic. So now if I click on the start, so the start is active, my coil is energized, and if I release the start, it's going to stay energized through this parallel pad using the holding contact. So now if I trigger stop, the circuit will be open. If I release the stop, it's going to stay in the standstill. So it's not going to restart again. So it's a safe circuit. If I press the start again, it's going to restart again. Okay, we successfully tested our logic. Just to recap, we went through the whole process: creating a project, adding a PLC station, implementing logic, loading to PLC, and testing using PLCSIM. Now I'm sure you learned how the whole process works. I hope this video helped you to learn TIA Portal in the first step. To support this channel, I appreciate if you like, share, and subscribe to get notified when the similar videos are published. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one.